A lawsuit filed by a Southern California family is fueling growing concerns about how AI interacts with children online. The lawsuit claims ChatGPT encouraged 16-year-old Adam Rain to plan his death and hide it from his family. OpenAI responded, saying it'll add new safeguards to the chatbot. Other companies are also under fire for allowing inappropriate conversations with minors, including Meta. There are tools that can help children feel safe in today's digital world. The same goes for parents. Let's get some more insight by turning to Carl Stillner, the CEO of Bright Canary. It's a tech firm that monitors your child on YouTube, Google, their text messages, Instagram, and, of course, TikTok. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Of course, when we think about AI, first it was like cheating on your classwork, right? Having AI write your papers, then sexually explicit AI-generated images, and now this one family is blaming AI for their son's death. How do you think parents should be thinking about AI overall?
Well, I think that first and foremost, it's interesting to think about it in the perspective of the fact that these are children, these are adolescents. It's a reason why we don't let them gamble, why we don't let them drink, why we don't let them smoke or even vote. Until a certain age, they don't have fully developed prefrontal cortexes. And so when we're taking these technologies that are very much experimental and putting them in the hands of kids, especially in the context of having them mimicking humans, which they clearly are not, it's dangerous. It's an experiment that we're conducting on our kids. And so I think we have to be aware of that, and parents have to realize that, unfortunately, this is another thing they have to add to their quiver in terms of what they're doing to parent their kids. We can't turn a blind eye to it.
Let's talk about protections. Parents of teenage ChatGPT users will soon be able to receive a notification from the platform if it thinks their child is in acute distress. Are the companies themselves doing enough to monitor their impact?
Historically, a lot of the safeguards that have been put in place have been really window dressing. I can't speak to the latest ones that ChatGPT is releasing, but hopefully they're not window dressing, and hopefully they're made in a way that are easy for parents to use and are marketed to parents, so the parents are actually aware how to use them. But there's a pragmatic consideration here, and that is that kids are using multiple services. They're using many different LLMs, they're using different social media platforms, they're using different messaging platforms. And for a parent, especially if the parent has multiple kids, to keep track of all those kids across all those platforms, if they're logging into each of the different platforms' parental controls, is very difficult, which is why we think there needs to be dashboards, and we have one, of course, that consolidates all the communications and all the content that's consumed across these different services, so parents have a simple and easy way to actually keep tabs on their children.
So what kind of information do they get through Bright Canary?
We basically run all the content. This is a use case where AI is being used for good, in our opinion. We're using all that content and we're feeding it through AI and alerting parents of things like suicidal ideation, drug content, weapon use, et cetera. And so that parents don't have to go in and read every communication their child is sending to their friends. Instead, we're using AI to level up the communications that they should be concerned about. It also can be used to kind of identify content that parents might want to know about their kids that is not concerning. So areas of interest for your kid, so that you can actually indulge those interests as well.
Will the child know they're being monitored if the parents don't tell them?
We advocate for full transparency with the kids. We think that parents should be very transparent with their child about what they're using and saying, hey, you get to use a phone or you get to use these services because mom or dad or whomever are using Bright Canary or another like service to actually understand what's going on. So we think that should be part of the digital contract that exists between a child and a parent.
Yeah, I'm looking at all the screens that are popping up, right? Information, numbers, percentages, all that's great. I will say I had a recent experience with a young relative of mine. She pulled up ChatGPT and she showed me how she uses it for her math homework. And she said, I can choose from different voices. And there was sort of like a neutral voice. And there was one in particular that she said she loved. And she played it for me. And I heard the person speak. And I thought to myself, that sounds exactly like a boy I would have fallen in love with in high school. I would do just about anything that voice said, and it was the first spark of like, wait a minute. Parents need to go way deeper than just looking at charts and graphs and percentages.
That's right. No, exactly. We're really focused on the quality of communication and content that's being consumed, not the quantity. There's a lot of services, including screen time, that's built into Apple, of course, and Google has a like service as well, that alerts you how many minutes your kid's using these. But instead, we're focused on the nature of the communication and content that's going on, because that's where we think the focus needs to be, because kids are going to use these services. We can't keep them in a bubble. They're growing up in a world that has this at every turn, and so the best thing a parent can do is stay apprised of what's going on.
All right. It's good advice. Carl Stillner, CEO of Bright Canary, thank you for your time and insight this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.